I'm excited and nervous about today's video. So I got this tube of hamburger meat this morning and I decided that I'm going to try an experiment. And I'm nervous that today's video could be a complete disaster. I bought this meat this morning at the store. So I do understand that this being store-bought meat may be unappealing to some of you, but not all of us have access to fresh ground beef. So if you are able to get your hands on this, especially when it's on sale, I say go for it. And it can't go in our freezer because our freezer is full, which is a good thing. So I decided to can it, but I'm not just gonna can it one way, we're gonna can it 3 ways. We're gonna do it dry, raw, and with broth. The reason that I'm doing this is I wanna see which way would be the best for our family. And also to experiment a little bit, to see what the different types are. So the first thing I need to do is get to browning some meat. So for those of you that may have never seen a big roll like this, I did grab this at Walmart. Our local grocery store is actually going through renovation right now, so I usually have really big rolls on sale. It's got a lot of fat. So on the package, it is going to say each one of these is 1 pound portions. I don't know that I truly believe that because of the fat content, but I am going to cut off maybe to here to allow for the shortage of the fat. So that's actually going to be about 3.5 pounds. One of the pounds I'm going to set aside because we're going to raw can it. So this is what I did. I cut this at the 1 pound mark. This will be the portion that I raw can. This is about 2.5, and this is what I'm going to brown, not completely, but just enough. And I'm still going to leave some pink in it before we actually put it in our jars to can. So now that you've got your meat on browning, you're going to want to go ahead and get those rings and lids in some water so that they can be ready when it's time to put all of this together. For this video and for this experiment purpose, I'm only going to do 3 jars. And I went ahead and put them in my canner so that the jars can be heating up. And while that meat's browning, this is also a good time to get all the things that you're going to need. Of course, the vinegar to wipe the rims, canning salt if you are going to add that to your jars, this to remove and add your hot jars, your funnel, your little magnetic lid thing, and this to make sure there's no air bubbles. Okay, this is where I'm going to turn the heat off and I'm going to quit cooking the meat. As you can see, there is still some pink in there, and that is fine. That is what we want. But I'm going to drain it from its grease and then we'll get started. And let me encourage you to save this. I'm going to show you guys how you can turn this into something yummy for your chickens in another video. Okay, I want you guys to see this. Out of the pound, this is what was left. And the reason is I didn't want to fill it all the way to the top because remember, we're raw packing this. So it's going to cook in the jar and there will be grease. So I kind of allowed for space for the grease. So I'll just add this to my next batch when I cook it down. To this jar, spoon in, I need to get a bigger spoon. Oh my goodness. We're going to spoon in this meat that we partially cooked. I think I cooked it a little bit more than I wanted, but that is fine. That is fine. Okay, not gonna work. Okay, I'm just gonna add a little bit more to that, and to this one, I am going to add some hot water. You can add broth, but for the experiment, I'm just gonna add water with, I'm gonna leave a 1-inch headspace. Okay, just like that. And to this next one, I'm just gonna add the meat. We're not gonna add any broth, any water. It's just gonna be the meat. So I can put a little bit more in there than the other cans, than the other jars. Okay. This is not necessary, but I like flavors, so I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit of salt, canning salt, to each of these. Okay, I'm gonna take this and I'm just going to give this a little bit of a stir because we want to make sure there's no air pockets in there. And this part is necessary. So you take your vinegar and you're going to want to wipe your jar rims to make sure there is no grease or particles or anything that's going to keep them from sealing. So important, you guys, so important. Okay, so now I'm going to put my rings and lids on. Finger tight. Now, they're ready to go in the canner. Here's the first one. Now we're going to want to get our lid locked in place and allow it to sit and build up pressure before we put our weight on. Okay, if you can see, it has been about 10 minutes and there is a steady stream of steam coming out of this. Now is the time to put your weight on. I'm using 10 pounds. Know your area, know your altitude, know how many pounds you're supposed to use. And now we wait for about 90 minutes. So at 1:30, I'll turn the heat off. Okay, I am very anxious. I am excited and nervous. I went ahead and I turned the heat off. So we're gonna let this kind of just settle down and then we'll take the weight off and then we'll take the lid off and then we'll check our jars. All the pressure has been released. I'm going to slowly and gently just kind of set this lid off the canner and slowly just kind of let some more steam out. The jars look good from my view. None are broken. They look good. We'll take them out in just a bit. Let's do it, y'all. I'm gonna grab this one. I think this is the raw pack. Here it is. This one is the broth or water. I used water. And this one is the dry meat. I can already tell y'all I don't like the raw pack. It has lots of grease, especially because of the meat I used. I would not prefer this. I would not want to open this and eat this actually. And then this one, we added the water to it and it looks good. It has just a little bit of room down there. This one is the dry. We added the partially cooked ground beef. And as you can see, it made its own juice, grease. I'm gonna let this cool and I'll come back tomorrow and I'm gonna go ahead and open them so that we can really get a good view of what they would look like if we had to use them. And I'm even noticing like the difference in the color even. But this one I already know right off. I won't do this again. So I know I said earlier that I was going to open these cans tomorrow, but life happens and there's going to be a chance that I'm not going to be home part of the day tomorrow, which is going to cut into my video time. So it's been about 4 hours and the jars are cool. So I thought, you know what? Why not go ahead and do it? I'm going to go ahead and open these jars so that we can examine the meat and the texture and see which one we think we like the most. I've actually started another batch of jars. They are pint size. And I went ahead and I actually measured it out. I weighed it out on a scale. I'll insert that clip here. Round 2 of making a mess. It is later in the evening and I'm actually going to can the rest of my meat in these bigger jars. So I'm going to measure and see how many pounds I can actually fit in one of these. Love it. Love it. Love it. A pound. 1 pound, guys, in a quart jar of cooked hamburger meat that I'm about to put in the pressure canner. Okay, back to the original thought. I'm going to start with the raw pack, and this is what it looks like now that it has set up and cooled. And I'm going to take the rim off. You would want to take the rim off before you store this because you're going to get a false seal. Let's say you store your hamburger meat on your pantry and you leave this on. There's a couple things that could happen. One is this is going to get stuck. You're not going to be able to get it off, and you're going to have to break it off or break your jar. You don't want that. The second thing is this could come unsealed, and if this lid is on, it's going to hold it down, and there's a chance that it's going to reseal. So that's going to allow air, which is going to allow mold and bacteria and things to start to grow in your jar. So I'm just kind of suggesting that you take these off before you store them. So anyway, I'm going to open this one first because this is the one that I know I won't do again, okay? It's like half the jar. Let's see. So there it is in the jar, and it's cooked. Kinda. It still looks a little pink down in there, honestly, or maybe it's just the lighting, but I won't do this kind again. Okay, moving on. I feel like I'm wasting these seals for this experiment, which it will be okay. It will be okay. Okay, this is the one that we put the water in, or you could put your broth, and it looks good. It still looks like, you know, it's intact. It's got a nice covering. We'll just break through, because I could put this in the fridge and I could use it. I would still be able to use this if I wanted to make, drain this off and make taco meat or put it in a stew. So there it is up close. Still looks good. It smells good. So there is the texture of that if you were to add broth or water. Okay, I would eat that. I've done it like this, and I like that method. This is the one that I'm really, really curious about. This is the method that I did the rest of my hamburger meat in. That's in the canner right now. The dry pack. I think it's called dry pack. You don't put anything in it. You don't put liquids in it. So let's just pop that off. Y'all don't come at me in the comments, okay, about unsealing all these jars. This is a test. Okay. It looks good. Let's see if it'll focus. And the consistency, it's actually like it just came out of the fridge or something. I mean, I really like this. It's not watered down. Still crumbly, and it's got some juice down there. It's got some grease down there. So if you were to pour this in your pan, this would give it back some of that, you know, moisture. I think this is my favorite way. This will be my new way. Okay, I'm going to give you guys a close-up now of all three, and then you decide. That was the one we can dry. That's the one we can in the water. And then that one. The raw pack. 3 different ways to pressure can your hamburger meat. So this is where I'm going to say goodbye to you, and I'm going to wait for the rest of my meat to finish processing. I'm going to clean up my kitchen from a long day's worth of canning and have some downtime. I want to say thank you guys for watching. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss any of our videos. We love you, and we appreciate all of your support by watching our videos, maybe even sharing them, liking them, and commenting. And for those of you that are YouTube members, thank you. I hope you're enjoying those behind the scenes extra clip videos that I've been posting for you. And as always, God bless. You have an amazing day.